The fort is extremely unique building, and it's so centralized within the city. No one can go from the market to the city center without crossing the bridge or even going to the bus station. So it's very well connected. And from the other side, if you want to go to the university, a lot of students, professors, visitors. So in a sense that it's a fort, but it's a very accessible fort. It's the kind of fort that people would experience almost on a daily basis. But what is interesting here, the challenge here is, are we going only to preserve the fort as a place we look at it and we close it and we separate it from the community? Because even in the most recent literature about heritage preservation and conservation, this would be termed, and I use this term in a lot of my research, negative preservation, in the sense that you only preserve the materialistic aspect of the heritage, but you are not able to move this to what I would call it positive conservation and preservation, in the sense that you will start to give some new contemporary functions to those kind of spaces. There's also a very interesting feature about the fort, that it's an interesting combination of indoor spaces and buildings and absolutely wonderful outdoor space. And also the outdoor space can be seen as a sort of not only just a green space, but also it can be considered as a place that can accommodate some activities, not necessarily permanent activities, but sometimes temporary activities. People would feel that the fort, it's not only archaeological site, it's not only a chapter of our old history, but it's related to us now. I've heard, for instance, that in August, usually they have an excellent jazz festival in the fort. This is absolutely wonderful. But this is the kind of fort that you don't want to end up with only one event per year. This is the fort with its prestigious architecture and location and urbanity and landscaping and so on and so forth. You need to have something happening, major thing happening at least every month. And therefore, you will deliver a message to the community that this is your center, this is your hub, this is the new square of the city. And I'm very serious about the new square of the city, because I've heard that now you guys are working on the renovation of the bridge leading from the fort to the square. And I would suggest that this bridge, one, be perceived only as a very limited preservation of the bridge itself, but it should be a sort of the link between two main very important spaces in the city, the fort and the square. In this case, I wouldn't call it a bridge, I would call it the gateway. So in this case, the new renovation scheme of the bridge should be seen as if you are going from the fort through a gateway to the square and vice versa. It's the place that would prepare you to go into the city or to go into the heritage and the history and so on and so forth.